sorry to keep calling you.
Hey, what's up, man?
Did you see the text?
No, I didn't, because I just went live. Hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Now, it's right at the corner. This one, that Peter stop sign and hit one. And, probably one, yeah, won't be able. You got the safety security shirts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I always wear.
Yeah, wear that. Just make sure you walk instead.
Okay.
Because this principal will complain. Because she complained on Mike, and Mike was actually out there. But,
Well, you know, people are gonna complain. They're gonna complain. If that's what I mean, if they want people to, you know what I mean. If they want security to stop sending people, that's on them.
Now, do you see those times I gave you?
Both times, yeah. 7:45 to 8:30, 2:45 to 3:30. Yeah, I see it.
You had no problem doing that.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so I just told every day you go from 7 a.m. till that time.
Yep.
And you don't have to punch in and out. You just got to do a chrono stat and say you were on crossing very detail during that time. So you get it like what, 8.5, 9 hours?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. For sure.
So that's Monday through Friday.
Yep.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Okay.
All right, bye. What? I am live. Lexi, come get this little girl some milk. I'm live. Yo, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. Listen, I got a phone call from my boss at the last second, so I had to take it. But we are here now. Welcome to Brother Grafted here early as usual. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Welcome to George. Welcome to Grafted. Welcome to Jax. Welcome to everybody. Thank you guys so much, man. Huge exciting news. I figured out a way. Not that I didn't know, but I actually finally went out of my way to. Why do I hear myself twice? Hello. Okay, there we go. I finally did a lot of under the hood stuff behind the scenes. As you guys can see, the chat looks a lot better now. It doesn't look like washed out by the background that was there. More than that, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm very excited about this, is that we are live on YouTube Live. So welcome, and welcome on YouTube Shorts Live. Also welcome on TikTok. We got that back for whatever reason. We lost it. We don't even know why. And welcome on Kick and on Rumble. I have that going as well, guys. So we are live on YouTube Live, YouTube Shorts Live, on TikTok, on Trovo, on Kick, and on Rumble. We are getting this thing out there, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you guys so much for being here and supporting crossunit.net/call, where we are definitely going to talk to some people who probably are going to struggle with this question, i.e. Muslims, regarding Surah chapter 4, ayah 157. Before that, just like every time, guys, I'm going to start off with the actual word of God from the Bible. From Ephesians chapter 6, verse 22, I am sending him to you for this very purpose, that you may know how we are and that he may encourage you. Again, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 22. Now, Brother Phil Ware's interpretation of this verse and his thoughts are as follows. As Paul faced the difficulties of imprisonment, he was more concerned about the people in Ephesus than he was about himself. Rather than keeping Tychicus close at hand for his personal benefit, Paul sent him back to bless people in Asia Minor, even in his times of difficulty and danger. Paul was more concerned to bless than he was to be blessed. Isn't it a great example to us today? We often get upset about minor inconveniences and let our being upset ruin our attitude towards everyone around us. Paul's example should convict us and lead us to be a blessing to others, regardless of our circumstances. Amen. And you know what, guys? I'm a huge offender when it comes to that. Like, I've gotten better at it, I suppose. But man, when I'm pissed off, like, it's very easy to see it. And my wife always tells me too, like, when you're mad, you're mad. You don't care if people know. And I don't, like, I've never been hardwired to understand, like, if I'm upset, I'm upset. Like, I've never been the one to be like, I try to hide it. And I'm not good at hiding it. So I guess, you know, that's part of it. But I definitely should try to follow more of Christ's example the way that Paul did. Here's a prayer, guys. Let's pray together. If you want to pray with me, you're always welcome, guys. Let's go ahead and pray. Father, please forgive me for letting my difficulties ruin my attitude. I want to be a blessing to others, regardless of my personal circumstances. Convict me with your spirit when I begin to focus too much on myself and my personal situations. Expand my heart with your grace so that I can use my inconveniences, problems, struggles, and challenges to be opportunities to share and display your grace. In Jesus' name, we pray and we pray. Amen and amen. What is going on, Brother Grafted? You can unmute yourself. And Brother Jordan, welcome to the channel. Are you a Muslim or are you a Christian?
No, I'm agnostic.
You are agnostic. Excellent. Okay, so do you see the title for today's stream?
No, I don't. Where do I see it?
It's the title of the stream. So it would be Islam is on trial. Can Muslims defend the untrustworthy? As an agnostic, I'm not sure what you would have to contribute to that, but I give everyone a chance. Do you have something to contribute to that particular conversation?
No, I would say that whatever Muslims believe is probably just as unjustified as Christians.
Okay, so that you're welcome to your opinion, but if you are an agnostic, then I'm not sure if you believe that Christianity is unjustified. I find it very hard to believe that you could believe in any God, because there's really nothing that you can talk about as far as justification, unless you're just one of those people that wants to live by doing the things that you want to do only, which is pretty much the majority of atheists and agnostics. They're just more interested in living the way that they want, and they have a problem with accountability, which has been my experience, and I've actually never seen otherwise, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I would just take like my morals to be centered around like harm, and it seems like Christianity seems to look past that in quite a few cases, so that's why I disagree with it.
Well, I mean, you can talk about harm and you can talk about whatever you want, but let me ask you this: do you agree with abortion?
Of course I do.
You agree with it?
Yep.
So you think it's okay to end the life of an individual before they have a chance to be born?
Yeah, I would say that something like rights would be an obligation towards someone.
Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what you think. The fact of the matter is, even secular science confirms and acknowledges that life begins at fertilization. So I don't care what you think.
With that.
Okay, so
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's not about it's not about yes, it is about life, because any person who is alive, regardless of their location, gets the same rights. People like you,
do you
don't
think
get
mowing
to.
the grass is wrong?
People like you don't.
Those are biologically alive,
right? So those are biological. Those are you're trying to compare plant life to actual human beings.
Yeah, what's the difference?
The difference is that human beings are more important. We have souls. Blades of grass do not.
You said we have a soul.
Yes, we do. Okay,
how would you ever prove that?
I can't prove anything to you, brother, because there's no way that you're going to listen to anything I have to say anyway.
Well, if you had to, there's somebody listening in here that could be agnostic. They might say, "Oh, I never heard of like a soul."
You want me to prove to you have a soul? Why don't we do this? Prove to me that you're alive.
That's just as impossible.
Thank you. So then there's nothing for us to talk about then, right? This is not what this. There's nothing.
These are
This is why I don't talk to agnostics and atheists, because you guys, your attitude of arrogance is beyond reproach, and there's really nothing we have to say to one another. You think that what you think.
I base off of my
you
existence?
think that what you think is more important than actual reality. You agree with abortion, but say that you think that your morals are better than Christians because you base it off harm. But the fact of the matter is, you look at abortion and don't consider it to be harm, which just goes to show how incredibly dishonest and disingenuous your intellect is. Have a good day. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Welcome, Brother George, and welcome, Grafted. I'm sorry for the immediate. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why I do not speak to atheists and agnostics anymore. Because when you can say something as stupid as cutting a blade of grass is the same as taking the life of a human being, a blade of grass,
what in the world,
which is not going to ever. A blade of grass which is never going to ever have an impact on anyone's life ever. You're comparing a blade of grass to a human being who is going to interact with people and have impacts on countless lives, to say nothing of the fact that it is created in God's image. And I don't even know why they come in here, because they know what they're going to hear already, right? They know what they're going to hear. They know what we're going to say. And you have the audacity to say that your morals are based on harm and are better centered than a Christian's and better centered than God's, for that matter. And yet you say abortion is okay. This is why I don't talk to you guys, because I don't have the patience for that kind of stupidity, and I just don't. It's insane to me that people can think that way. What's up, Brother Grafton? How you been, man?
I'm good. You know me. I'm just sticking around late nights just because I love what we do. Yeah.
Amen, amen, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Grafted. What time? What time is it over there in South Africa now? Is it 10 p.m.?
It's 8 minutes past 10. Yeah.
Yeah, same here in Serbia. We're in the exact same time zone.
Okay, we should link up. We should speak.
We should really. Why not?
You guys, I really do appreciate you guys though, because despite the time differences, you guys are always pretty much here, even if you're not here the whole time, but you're here a lot of the time, and I really do appreciate that because I know that's not easy. I you know what's crazy is that you guys are even an hour ahead of the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, because I know that the one guy who calls here all the time is 6 hours ahead. If you guys are 7 hours ahead, that means you're a little bit further east of them, which is crazy. Because I'm talking to you guys from the past. This is an episode of Back to the Future, ladies and gentlemen. So here, guys, today I'm going to present to you all, including my brothers in arms here. Let me bring it up before I do anything else. This is going to be the one and only point of contention that I'm going to allow today from any Muslim guest who calls in. These are shared on the Discord. 2 debate briefs on the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and evidence from history. Now, Brother Maverick, why would you bring this up? Well, as I'm sharing this with my brethren here, I will tell you guys why. Because the Quran makes it abundantly clear that Jesus was not crucified, right? Now, if we want to see where it says that, I will bring it up because I know that there are people who are unaware. Right here, where it says in Surah 4:157, and I will read the verses. I will read 2 verses before and after so you guys can see I don't read anything out of context because Muslims will try to accuse me of doing as such. And as you guys can see, unlike the Bible, with the Quran, when you read things in context, it does not help their case, okay? Surah 4:155 says, ladies and gentlemen, they were condemned for breaking their covenant, rejecting Allah's signs, unaliving the prophets unjustly, and for saying our hearts are receptive. It is Allah who has sealed their hearts for their disbelief, so they do not believe except for a few. 156 goes on to say, and for their denial and outrageous accusation of Mary. That is 156. That is the only part of that verse. 157 states, and for boasting, we unalive the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, but they neither killed nor crucified him. It was only made to appear so. Even those who argue for his crucifixion are in doubt. I don't know who is in doubt, but according to the Quran, that is what they say, right? 700 years later, they are saying that people who are arguing about his crucifixion are in doubt, supposedly. Moving on, they have no knowledge whatsoever, only making assumptions. They certainly did not kill him. You know what I think is the most ironic part about 157 is that it accuses people of making assumptions when this entire verse is an assumption.
Yeah.
Right.
The entire verse is an assumption based in no reality whatsoever. And for boasting, we killed the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, but they neither killed him nor crucified him. Historically inaccurate assumption. It was only made to appear so. Again, theologically unsupported assumption. Even those who argue for his crucifixion are in doubt. Historically inaccurate assumption. They have no knowledge whatsoever. Coming from an illiterate man. That is hilarious. Only making assumptions. They certainly did not kill him. Every single portion of this verse is either theologically or historically inaccurate or both. 4:158 goes on to say, rather Allah raised him up to himself, and Allah is almighty and all wise. And 4:159 we'll read just for good measure. Every one of the people of the book, which I love, because here we are again, the people of the book, which according to them, we didn't have a book, will definitely believe in him before his death. And on the day of judgment, Jesus will be a witness against them. How do you deny the crucifixion, the crux of the Christian faith, and then still acknowledge that Jesus will be a witness against them on the day of judgment? Incredible. Now, these are what I have brought up for this, ladies and gentlemen, because these are the biblical sources I have set up. These are all available for you guys in the Discord. If you are a member of the Discord, they're right there. You guys know that I am pretty good at making sure that I upload these beforehand. Why? Because I feel like I am a prosecutor. If I am accusing Islam of something as serious and egregious of being false, I feel that I have an obligation to give you everything that I have, and the burden of rebuttal is now on you. I have done my research, right? I have done my due diligence. So I want them to be able to look at all of this, because if there's any Muslim out there that can deny all of this, please do. And please be ready to give your evidence. Now, not only do we have biblical sources, ladies and gentlemen, for the crucifixion, we actually have non-biblical ancient sources, Roman and pagan. So if we look at Annals 15.44, where Tacitus wrote, Christus was executed at the hands of Pontius Pilate. We have Lucian of Samosata says he satirizes Christians for worshiping a crucified sage, which basically means, what is he doing? He's making fun of us because we're worshiping a crucified sage in Jesus Christ, right? Again, a hostile attestation. Now, they claim that it didn't happen, but we literally had people early on already making fun of us for this. Kind of hard to explain how people are making fun of you for something that didn't happen, right?
And here's the problem. I want to throw this in real quick. So there are all these extra biblical sources, and Muslims will still reject them. But they will, however, recognize this one source, which states that when Muhammad split the moon, a king or whatever he was in India, he saw the moon get split, and then he traveled to the Arabian Peninsula, and then he converted to Islam. So they're very, very quick to believe that one source, but when it comes to all these extra biblical sources, they're so quick to reject them.
And you know what's crazy, and that is 100% accurate what Brother George just said. You know what's actually crazy about that story too? That story about that supposed Indian king that converted to Islam as a result of that story didn't come till over a century later. That didn't actually even happen during that time. Yeah, it never happened.
I agree, but totally fabricated.
The story of the Indian king in and of itself that supposedly witnessed the moon splitting, that story didn't even come until centuries later, which is hilarious to me.
I believe that.
You know,
I believe that.
So, going back to the sources, guys, we actually have the Marabar Serapion, which references the execution of the wise king of the Jews. We actually have Suetonius, who mentions disturbances by Christus. Non-biblical ancient. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Sorry, I just want to say something. There's
Please.
also the Alexamenos graffito, which is an ancient graffiti, one of the first ones mocking the crucifixion of Christ.
From Greek? The Greek one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
With a donkey on the cross.
Yes. It's actually, believe it or not, guys, tagging, as what we call in America, tagging is when you like spray paint or you graffiti something and you do so illegally. Yes, tagging has existed for a lot longer than you realize, and people were actually etching things in stone, even for the purposes of being jerks, for lack of a better term. And they were actually, there is archaeological proof of Jesus being crucified, and the writing makes fun of people who are worshiping Christ, and Jesus had a head of a donkey. So initially in the Greco-Roman Empire, where it was illegal to be a Christian, people were already making fun of Christians for worshiping Jesus as a God, which again, Muslims claim never happened and say that Jesus was not God. And yet from hundreds of years before Muhammad was born, you already had people etching graffiti into solid stone that made it clear that the Christian faith was already centered around Jesus Christ being God, right? Right here, guys, this is all here for you. The non-biblical ancient sources in Josephus and the Babylonian Talmud. I'm not going to read it all to you guys. It is there for you guys. Historical consensus. What do scholars say? Bart Ehrman, Gerd Ledman, John Dominic Crowson, E.P. Sanders, Paula Fredrickson, Geza Vermes, Maurice Casey. All of these are non-Christians. These are all people who are people who don't even believe in Jesus as a Messiah. Bart Ehrman even said in an interview, I don't believe there is a God, but I guarantee you Jesus Christ was crucified. It's astounding to me. It is astounding to me. And he's not a Christian. He's not a Christian. He makes it clear that he doesn't believe there's a God, but he also looks at the New Testament and says that there's nothing in any of the textual variants that actually change the message, and acknowledges that they are all syntactual and spelling errors, which you would expect from countless thousands of people copying over scripture, right? But here's the most important part, guys, which you're going to see, and what I want you guys to check out is the Islamic denial and why it implodes. So in Quran, Surah 4157, which I read to you guys from Quran.com, it says they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but it was made to appear to them, right? Now, the problem behind this, as I have typed out here for you guys, is that there's no contemporaneous Islamic source that supports this Quran written 600 years after the fact, right? So it is a claim made by the Quran. And when Muslims call in, they're going to try to say, well, I know it because it says in the Quran. Well, I'm going to identify that immediately for what it is, which is circular logic. And I'm going to call you out on that. And if you continue to try to appeal to circular logic, I'm just going to boot you, because what I'm asking for is the same respect that I've given you in putting all of this together. And you'd better have at least something that verifies what you're saying. I'm not holding my breath that any Muslim actually has it. But this is just one of many, many ways that we're showing the world that the only truth, ladies and gentlemen, is Jesus Christ. He's the only truth. He's the truth, the way, and the life. He is God. I know a lot of people don't like it, but what you like doesn't change anything, right? I didn't used to like when my dad used to slap me upside the head, but it didn't mean he was going to stop doing it when I needed to get slapped upside my head. That's just life. That's just how it is, right? Now, what also works against the Islamic denial of the crucifixion is that even the earliest Jewish and Roman opponents never denied the crucifixion. They explained it away and did not deny it. And then they have the substitution theory that someone else was crucified. And that's a late legendary, that is legendary, and it is very late, centuries later, and very unhistorical, right? I know that there are Muslims who state that Jesus was raised through a hole in the roof. How the hell were the Roman centurions who were guarding him at every given time during his imprisonment not going to notice him going through a hole in the roof that didn't even exist? So a hole opened up in the roof. Jesus ascended to it. Somehow someone ended up taking his place. The hole closed up and not a single person noticed this, right? Again, 100% uncorroborated assumption, right?
Maverick, I'm not sure. I may be wrong, but I think that there is an apocryphal work, a Gnostic text.
Yeah, there is.
Called something like, Gospel of Peter or something related to...
You're talking about the Gnostic Gospels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a Gnostic Gospel ascribes to Peter, according to which Jesus was not crucified. I'm not too sure, but I think that there is something.
There is, and actually, I did a short on that by David. David Wood talked about it. I'll share it with you guys. It's actually speaking about exactly that. So, here, let me open it up. I'll open it for you guys.
So that's where Muhammad copied the story from, just like all the other fables and myths and legends that made it into the Quran.
Yeah, even the Quran said that people made fun of him and called him the ear, which is to me is hilarious, because it's like,
I know the pagans.
You remember that guy that was in here the other day that had the audacity to say, oh, well, then if Muhammad wasn't a prophet, then how did he manage to pick all of the right things and be so accurate in everything he said? Very easily, because he didn't. What are you talking about? What are you even talking about? What do you mean, brother?
Picked all the wrong things.
Right. Like,
what?
Right.
What's that, brother?
Right. Yeah. What's that? Dude, I'm going to put that on my sound pad. Brother, ooh. All right. So let me share this with you guys real quick so you guys can see it. It's only a minute and a half short, but it's getting some traction, man, through the glory of God. Oh, and that's another thing. Before I bring it up. Okay, there you guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I bring it up, guys, I do want to say, and this is not me boasting, patting myself on the back. Everything that I am about to tell you, I 100% acknowledge has only come from the glory of God. The last couple of days, our content, even after taking kind of a crashing halt and analytics were very low, even right now on the streams, I can see numbers are very high again. And it seems like God has kind of put me through the test. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Content creation can be tough, man. It's exhausting. Grafted knows. Grafted will tell you. Grafted's made videos. He knows how time consuming it can be. And when you upload and you're praying that it gets out there and you see that numbers are down and you see those dreaded gray arrows from YouTube, you're like, man, dude, is it me? Do I suck? Whatever. I go through that, guys. I go through that. I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be, but I've gone through that. And the last couple days, last week or so, I was kind of bummed because I felt like, man, am I doing something wrong? God, please show me the way. No, all I had to do was exactly what the Bible tells me I should do, which is just shut up and let God do what he's got to do, right? And that's what ended up happening, man. I ended up releasing a YouTube short with Nabil Qureshi, and it was just talking about how kind of the beginnings of him speaking with David Wood and the early points of their friendship, and a conversation that they had about biblical translation, which really opened Nabil's eyes to Islam being false, right? And that video ended up getting a couple of views at first. It did really good, and I was like, excellent, thank you, God. I woke up the next day, and it had gotten like 200,000 more views. Every single day I've woken up, it's gotten like 200,000 more views. Yeah, and on top of that, which is even crazier, is that not only did it get several more views, but it got so many views that my subscriber count jumped by thousands. So when I looked, I wasn't even I hadn't even cracked 92,000. Now we're at 93,260, and that video with Nabil is now sitting at 668,000 views. The long form videos are all getting over 1,000 views, which was never a thing for me before. So I say all this to say, guys, and again, not at all, not even remotely trying to brag. This is only because of the glory of God. But I'm saying all this to say thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for you guys who have. I see you guys still commenting. I see all my regulars in there commenting. I see you guys thanking me. And I really do appreciate it, guys, because there is no social media. There is no YouTube without you guys. There is no ministry without people to watch the content. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your support. Thank you guys all so much for watching me, regardless of anything. I really do love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Now, having said that, because I wanted to say it at some point, you guys still see the video. This is the one that came out yesterday. And it is titled, Muslim Claims the Gospels Are Not... Oh, is that... Oh, right here. I'm sorry. The title for the short is The Shocking Connection Between Gnostic Gospels and Jesus' Crucifixion. And then the video it's connected to is Muslim Claims Gospels Are Anonymous. Watch it fall apart. So just check this out, because literally, George, it talks about everything that you were talking about. Muslims. If you insist on asking questions that you think are gotcha questions, do yourself a favor and actually study the history and the socio-historical context behind things so that you don't end up looking like a fool like this guy you're about to see. Check this out.
David, you said in part of your rebuttal that the Quran is the only book that talks about Jesus not being crucified. There's actually early church writings, such as the Apocalypse of Peter, that actually talks exactly about the theory that you brought up, where Jesus was substituted by somebody else. And in fact, this specific scripture came before the Quran was revealed. So what do you have to say about that?
If you're including the Gnostic and Docetus texts, it's not in the hands of Christians. This actually is a much bigger problem for Islam, because the Docetists and the Gnostics, the reason they concluded that Jesus didn't die by crucifixion is because they only believe that he was divine and don't believe that he actually became a human being. So they had to come up with an explanation, and the explanation was, oh, someone else became disguised as him and then was crucified. The fact that this ended up in the Quran, and we know where it came from people who only believed Jesus was divine and didn't have a human body, and then this circulates, and then Muhammad puts it in the Quran. That's yet another example of Muhammad plagiarizing things, because everything about the Gnostic beliefs contradicts Islam. If you're saying that's the true gospel, congratulations, Islam is false. I'll run the Islamic dilemma with that, because it doesn't line up. It doesn't line up on any issue. There's a reason these didn't end up as part of the Christian canon.
There's nothing more delicious than when somebody starts off a question by saying, how do you explain? And then get absolutely humiliated when they get an explanation. Can't make this stuff up, man. Type amen in the comment section if you agree. So that I think that answers your question, George. If yeah.
Correct.
And it's funny that you asked that, because I literally just released that video. Now, guys, some maintenance stuff real quick before I forget. Next week coming up, I will be streaming. I think so. The times will be off a little bit. I will be streaming, but it'll be probably a little bit earlier or a little bit later, depending on what's going on. Because I do have something going on in my other job that it's only for 1 week. So we will be streaming. But like I said, if the times are a little bit off, I'll probably go earlier so that guys like George and Grafted can get on if they're available. I don't want to go later, because if I go later than I already do, it'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning for them. But I will go. I will go according to whatever I can do that day. Just letting you guys know now. It'll only be for next week, so don't worry about it. YouTube, please don't punish me. I know how you guys are about consistency, but unfortunately, well, actually, let me take that back. Fortunately, I'm married with several children and more than one job, and I do have responsibilities, and I do have to toil. and earn for my family, as it says in the book of Genesis. So I don't have a problem with that. Now, guys, that is, I mean, this is available for you guys. I've actually even dropped here the sources that I've used, and this is just literally only a molecule at the tip of the iceberg for historical evidences for the resurrection of Christ. I mean, we have Gary Habermas, who wrote The Historical Jesus in 1996. We have N.T. Wright, who wrote The Resurrection of the Son of God in 2003. Craig Evans, who wrote Jesus and His World in 2012. Bart Ehrman, who we know is one of the most famous New Testament scholars who does not believe there is a God. He wrote Did Jesus Exist in 2012, and on page 162 specifically, he talks about this. We have Gerd Ledman. Did I misspell that? I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that. Gerd Ledman, who wrote The Resurrection of Jesus in 1994. Again, on page 50, he speaks about this particularly. John Dominic Crossan, who wrote Jesus, A Revolutionary Biography in 1994, page 145, talks about the crucifixion. And finally, E.P. Sanders, who wrote The Historical Figure of Jesus in 1993, specifically on page 10. He gets to the crucifixion very, very quickly. And then there was a video that I wanted to share with you guys as well that talks about this, and of course why. It was by a channel that I love, that I've asked you guys to sub to before, called Testify. That's what it is. It's called Testify Apologetics. We're gonna go ahead. Let me copy this. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna share it with my brothers here. Now, what I want to do for this, gents, because you're both here, and I obviously value both of your opinion.
When it comes to the crucifixion,
I'm going to share it, and when I share it, you guys can hear. I know you guys can hear it. Let me share the screen real quick. All right, you guys see that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what I want you to do, it's actually just barely under 6 minutes. This video is so concise when it comes to the crucifixion as it relates to Christianity and Islam. It actually blew me away that he was able to do this in less than 6 minutes. And I do have a PDF synopsis on this, and we'll go through it point by point. If you guys want me to stop at any point, let me know and I will pause it. Sound good?
Yeah.
For sure. All right, let's go.
Crucifixion of Jesus, the Quran and the Gospels offer dramatically different accounts. While the Quran claims that Jesus wasn't crucified, early Islamic scholars have proposed that somebody else took his place on the cross. But if this is true, then why did the disciples believe and preach that Jesus was crucified and resurrected? This discrepancy raises a serious question about the very foundation of Islam itself. When we read Surah 4, 157, it says, "But they neither killed nor crucified him. It was only made to appear so." Even those who argue for this crucifixion are in doubt. They have no knowledge whatsoever, only making assumptions. They certainly did not kill him. Muslims obviously take this at face value to mean that Jesus wasn't actually crucified. The traditional view is that somebody else was made to look like Jesus and took his place on the cross. This interpretation is backed by early Islamic sources like Ibn Abbas, a companion of the Prophet Muhammad. According to one account, it reads, "Just before God took Jesus up to heaven, Jesus went to his 12 disciples. His hair was dripping with water as if he had just bathed, and he said, 'One of you will disbelieve in me 12 times after having believed.' Then he asked, 'Who among you will volunteer to be transformed to look like me and be..."
Did you guys notice right here what this guy said? One of you will disbelieve in me 12 times after having believed. He literally plagiarized from the disbelief story where Jesus said that the rooster will crow 3 times. Remember? He said, yes, one of you will deny me 3 times. So either he was trying to one up the story and copied it and just changed the number, or he restated the story and didn't even get the number right. But it doesn't even make sense. One of you will disbelieve in me 12 times after having believed. How do you disbelieve in someone 12 times? There's a huge difference between denying him. What he told Peter, if I'm not mistaken, right? When he told him he was going to deny him.
Peter,
yeah. When he told Simon Peter, you will deny, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. He never said you were going to stop believing in me, stop loving me, stop looking at me as the Messiah. He said you will deny me, which he did. He denied knowing him. He didn't deny believing in him as the Messiah. He denied knowing him as a man, right? This guy literally just plagiarized a story, and I don't think people are even noticing that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
After having believed. Then he asked, "Who among you will volunteer to be transformed to look like me and be killed in my place? Whoever volunteers will be with me in heaven." A young disciple offered 3 times, and on the third, Jesus accepted.
Oh my! So they just did it again. Did you guys notice
Me
that?
in heaven. A young disciple offered 3 times, and on the third.
You caught it, George? I know you caught it, Grafted.
Yeah, I caught it.
I got it. Yeah.
You guys tell the audience what you guys caught. I want to hear both of your sides of it.
George, you could go first.
A young disciple offered 3 times. Yeah, basically going back to the story where Peter denies Jesus 3 times.
Correct.
Do you know what I was gonna say?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I actually thought George was gonna say what I was gonna say, and then I was just gonna say, yeah, what George said. But I actually thought about when Peter ended up being redeemed 3 times, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
I do love you 3 times.
Yeah. And
It's like a
and
copy-paste.
it could be. No,
Interesting,
I think you're both right, because there's no way for us to know really which story he plagiarized, right? It could have been either one. All he did was he took what he knew of the disciples and the number 3 and then kind of morphed it into his own twisted little version of the story.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, very strange. Very strange.
Third, Jesus accepted. The resemblance of Jesus was cast over him, while Jesus ascended to heaven through a hole in the roof. When the authorities came, they found the young man and crucified him, thinking he was Jesus. Some Muslims will go ahead and argue that if this is true, then how could anyone really tell the difference between the real Jesus being crucified or someone who just looked like him? To most people watching, it would all be the same, whether it was an actual Jesus, a lookalike, or even an illusion from Allah. It would have all been recorded the same way. Therefore, checkmate, Christians. Our perfect book is right, and your corrupt book is wrong. But here's the twist. If we go with the story from Ibn Abbas, the disciples knew that somebody else had taken Jesus' place on the cross. Yet, all of the available historical data shows that the disciples believed Jesus himself was crucified. This is puzzling because according to the Quran, the disciples were Muslims. If they believed Jesus was crucified, does that mean they were deceived by Allah or Jesus? How do we know the disciples believed that Jesus was crucified? The Gospels, which are based on their testimonies, indicate that Jesus died on the cross. For instance, Mark's Gospel historically linked to the Apostle Peter, and John's Gospel linked to the beloved disciple who was also present at the cross, both recount Jesus' crucifixion. The speeches in the book of Acts and the letters from the apostles, like Paul, also focus on Jesus' death and resurrection. For example, in 1 Corinthians 15, 3-7, Paul emphasizes the crucifixion and resurrection, a belief shared by the early Christian community. We talked about the problem that Paul poses for Muslims in the previous video. A further problem with the idea of substitution is why it was necessary for someone to take Jesus' place. Why not just have Jesus escape? Why put somebody, especially a loyal disciple, through such a painful and humiliating death if it wasn't even essential? It seems like this view is just a weak apologetic attempt to counter the very strong evidence that Jesus did in fact die by crucifixion, a fact acknowledged by the vast majority of biblical scholars and historians. And here is a tricky catch-22 for Muslims. If Jesus wasn't crucified, then either he was wrong about predicting his death, which would undermine his role as a prophet in Islam, or he actually was crucified, which would contradict the Quran's account. Think about it. If Jesus didn't die on the cross, it makes him a false prophet, meaning Islam is false since they regard Jesus as a prophet. But if he did die, it goes against the Quran, which also means that Islam is false. There's no easy way around this dilemma for Muslims. I think most Muslims would argue that Jesus didn't actually predict his own death as the Gospels claim.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back real quick, guys. I don't know why this cutscene made me laugh so bad. because when I saw this, I literally felt like I was looking at every Muslim who's ever called my show. But wait, the Quran, but bro. Like, dude, are you gonna give any actual evidence, or are you just gonna talk and hope that I'm not noticing that you're not actually answering anything? I'm sorry, I thought this was so funny.
Oh, I've been there.
Every time, man. You know, hey guys, you got to give them the stop. Exactly. Stop it.
I think most Muslims would argue that Jesus didn't actually predict his own death as the Gospels claim, and these are just supposed Bible corruptions. But let's dive into some of the evidence that shows that he really did make these predictions. During Jesus' trial, false witnesses claimed that he would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Later, they mocked him on the cross, saying, "Who would destroy this temple and rebuild it in 3 days? Save yourself." This sounds really weird because neither Mark nor Matthew give any context for why people would say this. However, if we turn over to John's Gospel, we get the backstory. In John 2:18 through 19, when Jesus was asked for a sign, he said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." Here, Jesus was referring to his own body and his resurrection, not the literal temple. So John provides the pretext for the accusation that's hinted in Mark and Matthew's account. This kind of fit between different accounts, where one explains details that the others leave hanging, is known as an undesigned coincidence. It suggests that these accounts are independent and based on real events, lending credibility to the story. Another example is when Jesus predicted his death and resurrection in Mark 8:31 through 33, saying he would be killed and rise after 3 days. Peter, not understanding, rebuked Jesus, but Jesus firmly corrected him, saying, "Get behind me, Satan." This sharp rebuke would be embarrassing and therefore an unlikely detail for the early Christians to invent, especially given Peter's prominence, suggesting that this was based in real events. The numerous predictions and detailed accounts of Jesus' impending death and resurrection are just too compelling to be dismissed as mere inventions. Therefore, there's no escaping this dilemma. Either Jesus didn't die by crucifixion, which would invalidate his prophecy and make him a false prophet, making Islam false, or he did die by crucifixion, directly contradicting the Quran and making Islam false. Either way, Islam is false.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, less than 6 minutes, and it was so precise. Testify Apologetics, please, guys, if you have not checked out their channel. If you like my channel, you're going to love this channel. I have no problem telling you guys to go check somebody else out, especially another Christian ministry. I feel like they deserve it. They're going on 200,000. Let's help them get to that 200,000. Let's help them get to that million eventually, guys, because this is the kind of effort that needs to be made on behalf of the kingdom. Because at the end of the day, guys, nobody here, not Grafted, not George, not myself, not Testify, not Eden Reacts, none of these guys, none of us, we're not doing this because it's fun or it's easy. Arguing with people is not fun, right? Trying to get people to listen to the truth is not fun, right? It is not fun. And Jesus said himself, remember, the world will hate you, but remember that it hated me first, okay? So I get that. I have no problem with that. But the reason I say it, guys, is because this stuff needs to get out there. It needs to get out there. This isn't going to get you notoriety, right? This isn't like, for example, I can guarantee you that I can ask 10 kids who, Nicki Minaj is or Taylor Swift is, and they'll all raise their hand, right? But if I ask them who a famous pastor is, not a single one of them will know who the heck we're talking about, right? If I tell them, hey man, did you see that video from Billy Graham? They'll be like, who's Billy Graham, right? They're not gonna know who Billy Graham is, but they'll definitely know who some pop star is who hates God, because that's the world that we live in. Yeah. You guys have anything to say on that? Lady Gaga, yep. Lady Gaga, yeah, for sure.
Mr. Gaga.
Mr. Gaga, yeah. For real, right? There's one thing about Video Ninja drives me crazy. Like, if I share one screen, it kicks out my other one. It is what it is. So bringing this back up, guys, and please, guys, stop me whenever you can. Just let me know. I have no problem being cut off in the middle by you guys. I only don't like it when Muslims do it. I don't care if you guys do it.
Yeah, I have something actually.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yep.
So earlier when you were talking about the surah that said, he was neither killed nor crucified, and whoever argues for the crucifixion is obviously basically speculating and is assuming. That's not even the verse that stands out to me. It's the verse before that stands out, and I've never ever understood it, like ever, because the Jews speaking in boast is just something that is completely unrealistic to me.
Right.
I don't see
exactly.
Why would they be proud of killing their Messiah?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the verse.
They didn't even believe that he was the Messiah.
Right.
Exactly. But even so, like, the Messiah is so important to the Jews. It's the last thing on earth you would ever catch a Jew bragging or boasting about.
And you know what? And to further that point that Grafted just made, which is such an incredible point that I never noticed myself, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I've never noticed it at all. And you know what's funny about that? A couple of different things. First of all, boasting in Jewish culture was not something that was done. All right. Regardless of what the act was, they didn't go around oh man, did you see what we did? That is a modern concept, ladies and gentlemen. This concept of patting yourself on the back and being a showboat in front of people in the community did not exist. Okay. Now, to piggyback on that, understand, guys, that even though the Jews were instrumental in getting Jesus crucified, without knowing it, they were fulfilling a prophecy, right? Whether they wanted to acknowledge it or not, that's what was happening. However, it's not something that they bragged about. They did it in shame, which is why they went behind and started meeting with the Roman guard and the Roman government to say, hey, we want to have this done, right? Even then, Pontius Pilate wanted nothing to do with it, which is why the story of give us Barabbas exists, because that was his way of scapegoating himself, because even he didn't want to do it. Fast forward a little bit, after Judas hung himself, Jewish people wouldn't even go to the plot of land that belonged to Judas because they wanted nothing to do with him because of the shame that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ brought upon them. So when you say that the Jewish community was bragging about it, that's not only something that's not historically corroborated, it's not even contextually corroborated, because that's not how Jewish people used to, that's not how they acted. Right. And it's definitely not something they went around bragging to people about, man, you see what we did to Jesus? That's not, well, this isn't a football game. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. Exactly. That's such a good insight. Yeah, I agree.
If I may, like,
please,
it's actually so unrealistic. Like you said, right? It's not historically corroborated, and there's no motivation for it. The one thing that the Quran says the Jews were motivated to do, it's the one thing that a Jew would never, ever in a million years have the motivation to do. And it's like you said, right? There was so much shame that even when it had said on the cross, the King of the Jews, they were like, no, take it down. Like, it's not something I would have wanted to be have been known for.
Yep.
But when you think about it, like, this is the time period when the Jews are in exile, the time period where they are not really able to freely practice their Torah, their law, because of Roman rule. So the Messiah is the one person they expected to bring them out from that circumstance, unite all the Jews, all the tribes, the kingdoms, bring them into freedom, bring them into that ability to be able to, like, practice the Torah again as was meant to be. He's the one person, one person they would not be boasting about killing.
Yeah.
There's no, like, Allah did not know the hearts of the Jews. I'm sorry, but he did not. There's no two ways about it.
Mm-hmm. And the tradition of, if we look at Acts 1:19, ladies and gentlemen, it says, and quote, and it became known to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the field was called in their own language Akeldama, that is the field of blood. That is how they used to refer to the land that belonged to Judas, that was purchased by the Roman guard with his money that he no longer wanted, which was too late, because they told him, we're not taking this back because this is blood money. Even the Roman centurion knew, don't throw that back at us because we don't want that crap. And then they took it and they bought land in his name and said, we will not have any of this currency associated with our government. Why? Why do you think that was, guys? Why do you think that was? Why do you think that even people who did not believe in Jesus as the Messiah wanted nothing to do with it? Because they knew their hearts, their objective morality was eating them alive. And they knew they were on the wrong side of history, even if they didn't want to say it out loud. Now, honestly, and I will be transparent with you guys, the text in the Bible never explicitly says that the Jews did not want to go to the land, but instead, the implication was that it became notorious and unclean. No one wanted anything to do with it because it was associated with blood money and the betrayal of an innocent man. Now, brothers and sisters, let me explain something to you. It was not all of the Jewish community that rallied for Jesus to get crucified. I want to start there because I know that there are Christians and otherwise who believe that it was all the Jews that wanted Jesus crucified. That is not true. The ones who really wanted Jesus crucified were the Pharisees. And they were the ones who went out of their way because they did not have the authority to execute him. And therefore they had to go to the government that was overseeing them, which was the Roman guard, and which was the Roman government rather. And they had the Roman guard seize him for obviously a fraudulent reason, which was why Pontius Pilate was like, listen, you guys want this guy dead? Okay, no problem. If he's being that much of an issue, no problem. But he even found a way, as the leader of the Roman people at that time, to scapegoat himself, because that's how little he wanted to do with it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where the term "give us Barabbas" comes from. That was Pontius Pilate's way of saying, okay, I am now absolved. Whatever happens, this was the will of the people. Even though I think that in here, and you guys let me know what you think, I think that Pontius Pilate knew he screwed up. I don't think that the way that he supposedly absolved, even though legally through their procedures he absolved himself, I don't think that in his heart and his mind he was really innocent of what he did. What do you guys think?
I think there's a tradition which states that Pontius Pilate eventually committed suicide, and if this is true, this was I remember hearing this, and if this is true, this is most probably because he knew that he crucified an innocent man, of which he possibly himself later realized that it was probably God incarnate, especially when you take into consideration the early chapters of the Book of Acts,
right,
when large portions of Jews who wanted Jesus crucified now noticed that this was actually the Messiah, and when they realized that they acted in ignorance, and they actually believed in Jesus and got baptized. So yeah, all in all, it when taking all these things into consideration, it could very well be that Pontius Pilate eventually noticed that Jesus was indeed God incarnate, and that he decided to act the same way that Judas did. Yeah,
and that makes sense. And you know what? As Brother George was talking about, I actually didn't know that, guys. And I'll never pretend to know something I didn't. So the New Testament, we obviously know, doesn't talk about the fate of Pontius Pilate. But there are early external sources from something called Eusebius. It's spelled Eusebius, which is ecclesiastical history from the early 4th century. And it says that Pilate fell into such misfortunes that he was forced to become his own murderer and executioner, basically claiming Pilate committed unaliving himself after being recalled to Rome by Emperor Caligula for judgment. Eusebius cites this as a tradition and blames Pilate's downfall on his treatment of Jesus. So that was from Eusebius. Other Christian writers such as Lactantius echo the idea of self-unaliving. There are alternative accounts. Some apocryphal texts and later legends claim that Pilate was executed by the emperor, or that he was exiled and died in disgrace. Josephus, and we all know who Josephus is, and Philo, Jewish historians who were Pilate's contemporaries, mention Pilate's recall, but say nothing about his death. So in summary, the most commonly repeated ancient tradition, especially among early Christians, is that Pilate committed suicide after being disgraced and recalled to Rome. No non-Christian ancient historian actually can confirm this. There's no hard Roman record. It's all based on Christian writers several generations after Pilate lived. So at the end of the day, I guess we got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Is it plausible that that's what happened? Yes. But can we say for certainty that that's what happened? Absolutely not. And I would never tell you guys. So you pretty much make of it what you will, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, whether he took his own life or not, what we can ascertain from the events, and we're still waiting for one Muslim to call in, ladies. I don't think anybody wants to touch this. crossunit.net/call, ladies and gentlemen. crossunit.net. I guess they watch it. One thing I can tell you is that Grafted and George, I don't know. I don't think you guys were on that day. But there was another guy who came in, one of my subs who was saying that he saw me being featured on a Muslim channel, and they were talking about me, and they were saying that I was a bully and that I talk too fast and blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about how I was such a bad debater and this and that. And I was like, first of all, I've never even been on a debate team. Okay. I don't even know what the actual hard knock rules of debate are. I don't care. I'm here to have conversations with people and put out the truth, right? If the way that I run this channel is that we call it a debate only because that's essentially what it is. when two people disagree and we have differing ideas and it's an exchange of ideas, right? Great. But I'm not, nor is Grafted, nor is George, nor is any Christian or Muslim for that matter, nor are we constrained to answering things the way that people want, nor are we constrained to speaking to each other the way that people want. If you don't like the way that I speak with Muslims, you're free to go to another channel. You know what I say? I say to people all the time. So I say all that to say that it was funny to me that they reviewed my video on a Muslim that I spoke to about the Islamic dilemma, and obviously he had no good answers, and the video did really well through the glory of God, and it's so well that obviously it came across their attention, and they spent the entirety of the critique of my video talking about how I was doing things like begging the question or being a bully or this and that, and I'm like, okay, but are you going to talk about the substance of the video, or are you just going to sit there telling people that I'm a bad debater? Because if that's your only critique, then I will happily take that. But at the end of the day, you have nothing to stand on. Like, for example, one of the guys said, this guy is so dumb, he doesn't even realize that the only burden that we have is to prove that the Quran is not affirming the actual Bible, but the Injil. Okay, stupid. Then you don't know what the actual Islamic dilemma is. Because if you think that your burden is to prove that it's the Injil, which according to you guys is a lost book that was only revealed to Jesus, the Islamic dilemma stands more, because now Allah is telling people and referring to them as people of the book, which is a lost book, and telling them to judge by that book, which is a lost book, which makes your Allah an ineffective communicator. So no, that is not your burden is to disprove the Islamic dilemma, which is a paradox that your best scholars cannot explain away. One of the smartest, who I admire very much, he was, I forget the guy's name, but when he was pressed on it and he knew he was being recorded, he said, "Do not press me on it because it doesn't need to be spoken about in public." Do you guys know who I'm talking? Yeah, hang on, let me.
You okay there, George?
Yeah, I burned myself for a moment because that's how much my charger got heated up.
Oh, tick. You know, just while you are on that topic, and I know you're busy looking it up, Maverick.
No, go ahead.
Like, I think you know, even now I'm seeing Muslims in your chat. They would, the same people who wouldn't call up are the ones saying, "Go speak to Orthodox Muslim, go speak to Libyano, go speak to Orthodox Muslim." And I study Libyano's videos. I literally study them after the fact, and I can see the fallacies he makes, and I can see how, like, he, just like that first atheist who called up, he's a bad faith arguer. He's not necessarily yet in it to have discussions. He's just in it to go, "No, you're stupid," or I've disproven you for the clip.
But the thing is, and I want you to hold on to that idea, Grafted, because one of the videos that I've had that's been the most successful in the last couple of months was a video that exposed Libyano for being a lying, deceptive editor. And it wasn't even difficult. All you had to do was look at the original debate and look at the key arguments that he cut out of what Avery from God Logic said, and you see how much of a liar he is, to say nothing of the fact that when speaking about Mark 10:18, he actually appealed to the Clementine homilies, which was a work of fictional writing. He appealed to the Clementine homilies, which was not even from a church father. It was not a patristic source. He appealed to basically a group of cult members who did not believe in Jesus as the Messiah, and appealed to them something that they wrote, which was fictional, and said that was the proper recitation of Mark 10:18. Absolutely ridiculous. And that video did so well. Last I checked, it got like 11,000 views, which for me, that's a huge home run. I don't care what anybody else says. That's a good, that is, because guess what? That's 11,000 more people who are seeing how much of a liar this guy is, which are 11,000 less people who will be willing to take anything that he says as serious or truthful, right?
Maverick,
yeah.
Maverick, did you know that there is a Muslim sect called Ahmadis who actually believe that Jesus was crucified according to the Quran, but that he actually survived the crucifixion?
Yeah. I think that one of the guys in here the other day was saying that Nabil Qureshi was part of that sect. I don't know if that's true.
Yep, he was an Ahmadi. Correct.
Yeah,
no, he was.
And that may be why it was easier for him. Maybe Ahmadis are easier. Maybe they have more common sense. I don't know, because Nabil Qureshi ended up being one of the best Christian apologists to ever exist, in my opinion. But yeah, that's I guess that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I did know that. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, guys, about the Islamic dilemma. This was in an interview with Dr. Shabir Ali, who was being interviewed by Anthony Rogers, and he pressed Dr. Shabir Ali specifically to address the Islamic dilemma: can Muslims trust the Bible or not? Shabir refused to give a direct answer, openly said he didn't want to be pressed on it, and even admitted that he didn't want the discussion recorded or on video regarding that point. He has in various forums evaded direct engagement with the dilemma and encouraged it be discussed off camera or avoided altogether. Now, the key moment from that discussion was in 2021, where Anthony Rogers versus Shabir Ali debate, and it was a debate, I guess, according to debate standards. Rogers actually challenged Shabir Ali to address the Islamic dilemma, and he said he'd prefer not to discuss it. There are also reports from various conferences and Q&A sessions of Shabir Ali sidestepping the issue or deflecting it to a private discussion. So there's been more than one occasion when it comes up about biblical verification and the Islamic dilemma, where he will simply tell you, we can talk about it later. Do not ask me about it here while the cameras are on. Now, if the Islamic dilemma is so easy to defeat, why is one of your best scholars and Muslim leaders, quite frankly, sidestepping the issue and making it clear that it is not something he wants to speak about, where you can record him speaking about it, right? Now, I don't know what Grafted is talking about as far as like people. I have so little looked. I have actually a specific instance of my combined chat here on the left monitor where it only monitors the super chats, because that's the only thing I'm going to read out loud. And the reason being is because if you're a Muslim in my comment section and you're just here to be in the live chat and you want to help boost my analytics and you want to help out the ministry, thank you. Even though you hate Christianity and you feel like you love Jesus more than we do, you're in here helping out a Christian channel. I don't know if you know that or not. But to the secondary point where he's talking about Libiano and Dean Responds and debating all these people, George is a witness that Libiano spent over 60 seconds talking about how much of a nothing I am and how he's tired of people telling him to talk to me. Did he or did he not say that, Brother George?
I think that was Orthodox Muslim, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Libiano. The Orthodox Muslim is Libiano.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a video where somebody invited him to debate with Brother Maverick, and Libiano was claiming to respectfully be saying that Brother Maverick is a nothing, that he's a nothing. Like, how do you respectfully give someone a middle finger?
Right.
For real.
He said that I'm a dot on the floor under his foot, that I'm a nothing, that stop telling him to talk to me. Stop telling him to talk to me. Now, mind you, this was obviously far from the first time that this had come up. What did the guy do? He saw my name, or he saw one of my videos, to say nothing of the fact that I've shown you guys all that I've gone into his comment sections numerous times and told him to call my channel when I'm live. I have told him to do it, right? Because you guys know that unless someone insists on being disrespectful, I don't mute them. Libiano constantly mutes and deceptively edits because he wants you on his channel for that very reason. He wants to be in control, right? Now, Dean Responds was the same thing. He talked to me. He wanted me to debate him on his channel about the Islamic dilemma and whether the Quran affirms the Bible generally or absolutely. And I told him, you know what we can do? We can meet on a mid, and ladies and gentlemen, for anybody who's in the comment section, I will screenshot it and bring it up on TikTok right now because I have saved it, because I know how all you little Muslims think, right? So I told him, let's go to the middle. And I also told him that if it is going to be about the Islamic dilemma and general affirmation, that he had better not do what Daniel Itakachu did and start talking about what they think is a defense in biblical corruption. It needs to be about the actual topic. Now, I have no problem about the Bible and their idea of biblical corruption. But if that's not what the debate's about, respect the audience and talk about what the debate's about. Don't do like Dr. Pikachu, right? His next response to me, Dean's response to me on that was, you lost your chance. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry that you are so self-important that you think that I lost a chance to speak to you. Mind you, I have screenshots of myself waiting in Dean Respond's room before in StreamYard for over 45 minutes, and he pretended not to see me. I actually made that point to him, and he said, brother, you're not important enough for me to ignore. I said, oh, really? Then if I'm not important enough, why are you here inviting me to a debate? I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. Libiano and Dean responds, if you guys are hanging your hat on these guys, your religion is done. Just so you know, if this is how you guys think, if this is who you think is going to save your false and false religion, you guys are cooked. You guys are cooked. Roasted, baby. Get the spoon.
Brother,
get the spoon, baby.
Brother, this is not nothing new.
Yeah.
Brother Maverick, this is nothing new. You probably know who Dr. Zakir Naik is. This is someone up to whom Muslims tend to look up as if he's some sort of a god, despite the fact that he's super duper ultra mega giga deceptive and a liar and a stupid person. I do not know how someone can take that man seriously.
No. Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree.
I don't understand you. That man lies through his teeth the moment he opens his mouth.
Bro, I saw a video the other day. As a matter of fact, I'm so glad you said that. You talked about stupidity. Wait till you guys see this. If you guys, I cannot wait for the Muslims in this chat to see this. I cannot wait.
Brother Maverick, this is not even going to be a stream about defending what you brought up. It's going to end up becoming a defend your own apologist.
Right, yeah. Because we first of all, the three people that are here, we already know the crucifixion happened. We have no burden of proof. We have no burden to try to prove that it didn't happen, right? We don't even only just have the Bible, and that's all we would need. But again, there's so many instances of history and archaeology that is confirmed by biblical writing, scriptures, and events. The Quran, you don't have that. The Quran has no history. The Quran merges the details. The Quran is so vague. It's crazy.
It has no archaeology whatsoever, even.
Right, exactly.
Like the archaeology doesn't even... Brother Maverick, the archaeology doesn't even mention, it doesn't even match the things that are written in the hadiths about the early Muslims, early Islam.
Yeah. This is one of the videos that I found. This is actually from Orthodox Muslim. I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to see what he thinks he had as a gotcha moment. This idiot actually posted this. He actually posted this. Right here. Do you guys have to see this?
Can God say the N-word?
Can God say the N-word?
Oh no, I've seen this. Oh no.
I've seen this.
Can God say the N-word, ladies and gentlemen? Your supposed up and coming Muslim apologist star, I'm gonna show you how stupid he is.
Can he say the N-word?
Is it befitting of God to say the N-word?
No.
Are you sure about that? Okay, so let's read together.
Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger. Ladies and gentlemen, Niger is not only a name, it is actually the name of a country in Africa.
Exactly.
For crying out loud.
Exactly.
How stupid. Let's bring it up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Niger in Africa. There it is.
Ta-da.
No, Maverick, I need to say this.
Please do.
So, I think Libiano once admitted he was a Libyan, as in like he's got some kind of lineage from the actual country Libya. Libya and Niger are not far apart.
No, they're not.
They're quite close. And he couldn't even read his own country's name. It's one of his neighboring countries' names. Imagine
being so desperate for your religion to be true that you guys are in my comment section telling me to debate a guy who has openly told people, stop telling me to talk to this guy because he's such a nothing. You know why he won't talk to me? Because he knows he can't talk to me like I'm wearing a hijab. That's why he doesn't want to talk to me. He's watched my videos. He's seen my comments. He's seen my invitations. He openly admitted, George will tell you guys, he admitted seeing my comments in the comment section where I told everybody in there, this guy will never call my show because he's a coward and he's a liar. You know how many times he addressed what I said to him? Zero. He cried because people are telling him to talk to me, right? The country is called Niger. The word is spelled Niger. You know what's even more of an insult? Just south, barely southwest of Niger, there's another country with a very similar name that the base word of that country's name is the same. Nigeria. Niger and Nigeria.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you open that map, it's literally right above Niger, Libya.
Yeah, Libya's right here.
How do you misread the country?
I don't. It's right here. Libya, Niger, Nigeria. My man said he brought. Listen,
There was in the church that was Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon that was called what? Can you read that for me? Can you read it for me?
My eyes are very bad. Can you read it for me?
Okay, don't worry. I'll expand the screen for you. 1 second. Okay, can you read this for
Bro doesn't even know that the actual slur has 2 G's in it.
me, please? The Simeon was called what?
Niger.
Niger.
It says it's a black word in Greek.
Let's see how it sounds.
Strong's G 3526.
Then he plays, and he deceptively plays the wrong word, and doesn't he? Now, let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you think? Yeah, why do you think that he didn't show on his screen what he actually typed in for the transcript for the audio?
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to check that.
Do you think it means something?
Bro is laughing. Why are you wearing a hijab, bro? What's going on with you?
Maverick, let me say something.
Please.
What I want to say, and this is classic Muslim logic. So pay attention to what I'm gonna say. So when others invite him to have a debate with you, he comes up with excuses. Oh, like I don't have time. But on the other side, if Muslims were to come up to you and tell you to debate with him, and you reject him, they would say, "Oh, you're scared to debate with Libiano."
Right.
Now, if we were to go to those same Muslims who would tell you that you are scared, and if we were to tell them that Libiano is scared to debate with you, they would say, "Oh, Libiano is too good for Maverick. He can't waste his time with Maverick. Who is Maverick to challenge him to a debate?" In other words, either Libiano wins or Libiano wins. There's no way out. Either way, Libiano is the winner.
Well, here's the thing about that, George. It's not because Libiano's actually winning. It's because when you have when your subscription base is nothing but a bunch of mindless seals who will clap like seals for you for anything that you say. Bro posted that short. Holy goodness gracious. That short has 80,000 views. I wonder if there's anyone in the comments who actually pointed out how stupid he is. The second they don't have an explanation. My eyes are bad. She now has become stunned, unable to answer. My eyes are bad. So emotional, I can't defend my religion. Christians when they lose a debate. Are you serious? Are you serious? Keep them coming, Libiano.
This is Logic 101 for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that you need to get used to when finding yourself within the Muslim community.
Right.
Deception, lying, intellectual dishonesty. You better be ready for all kinds of foolishness within the Dawa community.
Look, I had to go all the way down, and nobody.
This is orthodox deception.
Yeah. Look, there was I came all the way down here finally, where it says Christians are actually mocking and laughing at this argument. Is this the caliber of Islamic Dawah now? What happened? This is embarrassing. Absolutely 100%. This is how Dawah, look, all the way down here. I beg you to post the full thing, please. Look. And you see how these will get like one reply and nobody's talking about it. There is no full thing, just a setup video. Amazing how all his little seals, you guys remember the TV shows from back in the day? I don't know if you guys ever watched American TV, but in American TV when I was growing up, maybe you guys had something similar where there was like comedy sitcoms and stuff like that, where there was in America anyway. I don't know how it is in you guys' countries, but growing up there was always like a school had like a bully or bullies, right? And these bullies always had people that followed them around like weird little cronies, right? Little pathetic knockoffs who were just they were just like little wannabes, right? Little wannabes. And that's what all these people are who follow Libiano. They're little wannabes. He sounds so good to them in their mind. His stupidity actually sounds coherent. It sounds coherent to them, and that to me is even before David Wood and them did not even know who this guy was. His arguments are so bad. They actually reviewed this video. They reviewed this video and they talked about how stupid can you be? And even worse, guys, even worse, if you are one of these Muslims that looks at Libiano like he's intelligent, you're actually stupider than he is. Because you have an obligation to look for the truth if you really care about the truth. And you guys don't do that. You guys will just sit there clapping like, oh my God, that's so smart. That's so smart.
Oh, that's exactly what people do when Zakir Naik gives his lectures and when he gives deceptive answers to people who give him questions. That's exactly what they do. Like I do not know how these people don't perceive what kind of a liar and a deceiver Zakir Naik is. Not to actually before Zakir Naik, there was this guy called Ahmed Didat. He was an Indian, a native Indian living in
African.
He was native South African actually. No, I think he was Indian. No.
Okay.
He was from British India, but he migrated to South Africa. He was even worse than Zakir Naik.
They're all so bad, ladies and gents. As a matter of fact, I had finished setting everything up for the stream, and I saw, where is it? Not that one. Right here. Muslim doctor could not answer this question about Jesus. This is what you're going to get, and I'm going to forward a little bit here. Oh, you guys can see it. Thank God. Okay, good. I don't have to share it again. So you guys can see here, this is just a setup. This is him like asking, oh, can I talk to an imam and stuff? You see, there's nobody talking to him yet, right? So let's go forward. Let's go forward. Now, finally, we're going to go to the point where he runs into him. Now, he's asking him questions. This is a sheikh. A sheikh, brothers and sisters. Let me bring it up here on screen so you guys can see. I want you guys to see. This is from, I love this guy's channel. Whoever has the son, please, again, guys, like I say to all my other brothers and sisters, he has an incredible channel and he does more than I do. He's out there. He is out there talking to these people face to face. I love you guys who have the opportunity to do that. And the fact that you actually get up and do it, I'm so grateful. Because maybe one day, I don't know, maybe God will put it in my path. But this guy is doing what I dream of doing one day. Look what happens when a sheikh, okay, a dawah guy, comes up and he's asked the most basic questions. Watch this.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Is there a sheikh or imam here?
Sorry? Inside?
Yeah.
He must be.
He must be, yeah.
Because he start at 1.
1, okay. Oh, okay.
You are not Muslim?
No, I'm not Muslim.
It's alright. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
What's your
name? It's Hossein. I used to be a Muslim. Hossein,
man.
Yeah, what's your name?
So you can come, Mubid.
No, it's okay. Mubid?
Yeah. You can come and ask question, no worries.
Yeah, over here though. I don't want to disturb, I don't want to come inside. If he wants to come out, I'll talk to him here,
Well, he will come after the prayer at 2.
At 2? Okay. Well, I'll be here.
Is that okay? Do you have any question? Any one question?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to ask you a question. But if you have to go, I don't want to disturb you. Like how much time? 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I do have a question. So, Muslims say that Jesus was not crucified. He wasn't crucified, right? On the Salib. Okay. That he was not crucified.
Okay.
Outside of the Quran, what's your evidence for that? Outside of the Quran.
Okay. And this is exactly what I'm going to ask anybody who calls in. Notice, I want you guys both to notice. We haven't got one caller yet. CarlSunit.net/call. Don't pretend like y'all don't know how to call now. Do not pretend like you don't know how to call. Okay?
I'm actually waiting for Costa.
Right, yeah, I know. That's what I was waiting for. Because I was assuming that at least he would call in, right? But I don't think he wants to smoke. I don't think he wants to smoke on this one.
Where you ask a very good question.
Okay.
But before starting this, you have to go the foundation of Islam. You are asking a question. If you want to know.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Jesus,
yeah.
About.
If you guys want me to stop at any time, just let me know.
Islam.
Yes.
You have to go to the foundation.
Okay.
If it is just like if if you are trying to cut this tree and pulling out the leaves, you're never able to cut the tree. You go to the root of the.
Okay, let's go to the root. Let's go to the foundation. You have 5 minutes. I know you have to go.
Yeah.
So my question was, outside of the Quran, I know in Surah 4, in Surah Al-Nisa, it says that Jesus was not killed, nor was he crucified. Well, my question is, outside of the Quran, do you have any evidence supporting that claim?
Thank you very much. Again, asking the same question.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if you go to the foundation, the root of it, it's something different.
Okay, what's the root of it?
The root which is same in Christianity, which is same in Jewish.
Now, to segue real quick, guys, I want you guys to look at this guy over here. Look, you see this guy? The older guy? This dude already, he's like, man, we're going to be on YouTube, man. I don't even know why we're standing out here. I don't know why he's talking to this dude. He knows we're not supposed to be entertaining these questions because he knows he don't have an answer. And he's just looking this way, pretending like he's not even interested because he knows what's up. He knows what's up.
Which is same from Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Do you follow Prophet Adam?
Well, he's not a prophet. He wasn't a prophet.
Okay.
He never claimed to be a prophet. The Bible doesn't say...
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
You follow the first man on earth?
In what sense?
Like that you know that he is the first man on earth.
What? He is, yeah. God created Adam, yeah.
You believe on it?
Of course. It's in the Torah, man. It's in the Torah.
Okay. MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
So what does that prove, though? That's the foundation why Jesus was not killed on the cross?
So, again, you are stubborn with your one question.
I have a question, man, because it's the fundamental... This is the fundamental difference.
Thank you.
Tacky Wacky, the video is called Muslim Doctor Could Not Answer This Question About Jesus. And it is from the channel called Whoever Has the Sun. Good question.
So much for asking.
Okay.
I am saying, if you keep pulling out the leaves, you will not go to the root.
Okay, let's go to the root. So, Adam.
Asking me that same question, which is bothering you. I don't know how long you're having this question, but that's making you worse. If I go to the root of the
let's go to the root, man. You got like 2 more minutes. Let's go to the root.
Okay. So the root is which is the same from Adam to Jesus to Moses to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay.
The same question, and that is, you know what it is?
Tell me.
You know what it is? It's oneness of God.
Okay.
If you start believing on oneness of God, don't mingle everything, you will be at the right path. See you again.
Do you think that's a sufficient answer to my question?
Yeah, it is. If you think.
So did you hear my question? Maybe I should rephrase it.
Go ahead, Grafton. Go ahead, brother.
No, it's exactly what we were talking about earlier. It's one of those, but bro, and then they don't give you an answer.
Yeah, no, that's...
I just did not give him an answer at all.
This man literally had the audacity to look him in the face and say, well, your question, you're pulling on the leaves. What? Brother, we ain't talking about leaves in no tree. I think a lowest ranking Muslim tried to say something to me like that one time too. He was like, yeah, you're trying to staple water to a tree. Where do they get these acronyms from? Where do they get these metaphors from? Where are you guys getting this crap? Are you buying your metaphors at the dollar store? What are you guys doing?
What I think that this imam or whatever he is, what I think that he meant to say was, we don't use extra Quranic sources. We stick to the Quran because it's the word of God. However, when he tried to give an explanation for why the Quran is the word of God, according to him at least, he failed miserably. He just gave out this explanation. Oh, well, if you believe in the oneness of God, apparently you will be a Muslim or whatever, and that's how you will know that the Quran is the word of God, and since the Quran denies the crucifixion of Jesus, that's how you will know that the crucifixion of Jesus never happened.
Yep. Before we go on, thank you to Faith in Christ, who became a Cross Unit fan and becoming a channel sponsor. Thank you so much, my brother. God bless you. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's bad, dude. It's bad, and the rest of the video gets no better. Even if you're not a Christian or a Muslim and you hear this, and your brain has been developed for, more than 15 seconds, you're gonna be like, what? Bro, that's not what he asked you. It's not what he asked you.
No.
What was my question? What was my question, please?
I know something is bothering you. I was a doctor. I know if the problem is in your tummy, and making it pain here.
Yes.
If you have a gallbladder issue, and making pain here, I'm not going to treat here.
Right.
I'm going to treat here.
Okay. So I agree. God is one. You said the oneness of God.
My dear brother Hassan.
Yeah.
If you listen me,
I'm hearing you, man. Have I interrupted?
So
just right now, last.
Only one sentence.
Okay.
You are having a problem here,
yes.
but you are trying to treat here.
Okay.
You should treat your gallbladder.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying.
It's my last sentence. If you keep asking me to treat this, you will not get.
Sorry, what's your name again? Mubin. Okay, Mubin. Can I say something before you go?
Okay.
No, hold on. You've been talking. I just want to say something.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so based on your explanation, you said you're starting here. Don't go over here, right? You said go to the problem, right?
You have a problem here.
Okay, so I'm bringing a problem right here, which is the crucifixion. You're going over here to Adam.
It's not a problem.
So what you're telling me that I'm doing, you're actually doing. You're going to Adam and the oneness of Allah. I'm saying, was Jesus crucified? Muslims say no. The Quran says no. But when you check historically,
I can answer this, but it will be a long. That's why I went to this.
Can you come back after we finish? Or?
Just listen.
All right.
But the problem is, there is two things. One is a debate, and one is understanding or discussion. You have something like if you have a thorn in your bird or on your foot, and if you keep asking, I have a pain, solve my pain. If I don't take out the thorn, you will never be cured.
You said you were a doctor?
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
Okay, you're not curing the issue. Right now, I would be dead if it was a heart issue. So you're going around to like all this other.
I studied the psychology as well. Your psychology is saying, keep repeating the same thing. Don't get to the point.
He's repeating the same thing because you haven't even begun to answer it, you fool.
Dear Muslims, are these the kinds of people that you look up to?
Yes.
Because this is embarrassing.
Yes, and you know why? Because my last stream, I talked about this. These guys are not prepared to have these conversations because in Islam, you are 100% discouraged from asking these questions. And if you do, there will be severe and dire consequences. And dire consequences. You don't ask these kinds of questions in Islam. This is why they hate us. Because they know when you ask the questions, it exposes the fraudulence of their belief system. Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think we haven't gotten one caller in here today? And you know what? Just to show you guys how serious I am about this, I'm going to keep doing my streams on this every single day until one Muslim gets the intestinal fortitude to call in and talk about this. Because I'm sick and tired of you guys walking around pretending like you know more about Jesus Christ, about our Messiah than we do. And yet nobody wants to call in and talk about it. Oh, speaking of which, I knew he was going to call in.
Speaking of which.
Uh-oh.
I called it.
I know. I had a feeling too. Costa, I like him too. Costa. He's cool.
I like you a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maverick wants to speak to me today when it's quiet. I'm Maverick.
Well, I want to speak to somebody new. You call in all the time, so.
Oh yeah. My turn today. Yeah. What did you not understand about the video?
What didn't I understand about it?
What do you mean?
Well, here, let's start here.
You provocated a question with a symptom.
Right, and not only that, he asked him about Jesus Christ being crucified. He talked about Adam. He talked about symptoms. He didn't talk about anything that was even remotely close to the question. So I'll ask you, Brother Costa, why does the Quran claim that Jesus was not crucified despite every other source of antiquity saying otherwise?
Because the large majority of your sources is the New Testament, unfortunately. You have, if the Quranic, what the Quran says is, it was appeared or it appeared so to the people. So it lines up with people thinking that Christ was crucified.
Excellent. So here, I'm going to share something with you, okay? Because you already started off erroneously, as usual. So here, I'm going to bring this. Oh, you know what? Let me hit the record because Costa's going on YouTube again. I'm just being clear with you guys about that. Crucifixion evidence. Here we go. So the large sources, the majority of our sources is the New Testament. Excellent. So I guess primary sources like Tacitus, who wrote the Annals, Josephus, who wrote Antiquities, Lucian, who wrote the death of Perigene, Marabar, Serapion, Babylonian Talmud. I guess all of those are biblical, right? The Islamic denial implodes. Historical consensus such as Bart Ehrman, who talked about Purchase Pilot, Gerd Luhmann, John Dominic Crowson, E.P. Sanders, Paula Further. Yeah, oh yeah, those are all the New Testament. Now we do have the New Testament, but I'm looking purely at right now non-biblical ancient sources, Roman and pagan.
Any of those sources, okay, number one, again, if you didn't hear me, the Quran says it appeared so.
Correct.
And all of those all of those non-biblical sources, they weren't eyewitnesses. They were just
neither was the Quran. Neither was Muhammad.
Neither was Muhammad. Neither was Muhammad the eyewitness.
Was Muhammad. What a big dub, big fat dub. Anyway, you're missing what I'm saying, which is
we were being respectful, Costa. So watch your tongue, because
yeah, very respectful. I've been watching the stream, very respectful today. Yeah,
brother, historical.
Telling people the exact thing that they need to hear is no lack of manners.
Right.
Now you got on my nerves.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yeah.
Now you got on my nerves, Costa.
That's your brain on Islam. Yeah, continuously. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, the non-biblical sources, they're not eyewitnesses. Firstly, so they're repeating what people are saying, if even that, or they're repeating traditions. The New Testament, now, what the question, because you've come with questions, and I think I've given you a sufficient answer, that if the Quran says it appeared to the people as so, then it goes according to the Quranic understanding, which is that people thought that Jesus died on the cross. So where's the big reveal, big win? I don't understand. I wanted to comment on that video.
Hold on, stop. We'll go to the video in a second. I don't. Again, just like the sheik in the video, and not because I'm trying to talk about it. I didn't hear an. So here, you keep saying that none of the biblical sources were eyewitnesses. Well, again, as we tried to tell you,
the non-biblical sources.
But even then, neither was Muhammad, who is a non-biblical source as well. As a matter of fact, he lived 6 centuries.
Who's the prophet's source? Who's the prophet's source?
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
An entity that appears to be a demon.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Muhammad lived 600 years after the event in a totally different part of the world. So if you're going to toss out people like Tacitus or Josephus and every historian because they weren't there, then the Quran's author is in the exact same boat, my friend, except with less access to the facts and even further removed from the actual events. And that's just basic logic, right? That's just temporal displacement that you can't deny. And you admitted
if you want to reject my
but here's the thing, Costa, it's not about rejection. It's about reality. You yourself admitted that the Quran says that it appeared so. Okay, great. That means that everyone at the time, friends, enemies, Roman guards, the entire crowd thought it was Jesus crucified. That includes his disciples who were, again, supposedly, according to your theology, those guys were Muslims, according to your theology. So now you're stuck, right? Either Allah intentionally tricked every eyewitness, which makes God the author of the world's biggest deception, or you admit that the crucifixion happened and that the Quran is wrong. You can't have it both ways. So which one is it?
What I want to mention is there's no explicit detail regarding whether the disciples were informed or not informed. So this is, as far as what Muslims are concerned with, is the death of Jesus. And the Quran says, neither did they kill him, nor did they crucify him. So for us, that's it. Whether this person believed or that person believed, it doesn't. Truth be told, it doesn't matter to our theology. Now,
okay, but do you understand that when you say that?
I want to establish one principle first.
Establish whatever you want.
Are you able to believe anything, even if there's an absence of historical evidence?
You could. That's called faith.
Okay, so you guys also, around the time of Jesus, when Jesus was crucified, and it says in Matthew that all the dead rose up and walked around the town. Where's the historical accounts of that?
Again, we can talk about that if you want, but my question to you is, you again are doing the same thing you always do. You want to pivot to something else because in your mind, it's okay, well, the Quran says it, and so that's the case. The problem is, it's not just the Quran stating it and it being at odds with what the Bible says. It's that the Quran is stating it centuries later, and it is at odds with what everyone else in the world says, including the Roman government at that time, the Jewish government at that time, and all of the other historians who have verified that this is true. You have people like Bart Ehrman.
Why it gives a different account?
It gives a different account, but it doesn't make any sense.
It gives the reason why it gives a different account,
Right, and it appeared. But again, under what evidence would suggest that that is the truth? You're talking about guys who didn't even know people. These guys who are writing this in your book did not even know people who knew people who knew people who knew people who knew people that were there.
Yeah, this is why the answer of the Sheikh, when in that ridiculous video that you played, makes sense, because what he says is...
Notice it's always ridiculous when it exposes their nonsense.
I mean, it doesn't... The Sheikh answered, listen, for us, what is authoritative, what we believe from God is the Quran. So if God is the all-powerful, being, he can relay information about previous prophets that people thought were the case to Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad doesn't need a causal chain.
Okay,
of course he doesn't live
great. Okay, sure. So
why
again,
should we believe that the Quran is from God?
Right.
Give me one good reason.
This is the crux.
You appeal to the Quran. Now I'm appealing to the Quran as well. Why should we believe that it's from God, Costa? Be honest for once, because I'm losing my patience with you.
I'm telling you the answer. You wanted the answer. I'm giving you the answer.
But we want a real answer. We don't want the dawah answer. We want the legit answer.
It's because Islam calls you to worship one God and not three gods. Okay?
That has nothing to do with it.
That's your proof. And then what's wrong with worshiping three gods if they're the only true gods? Like what is your proof? Costa, what is your proof that there is only one God? What if there are actually three gods who are the only true gods? What if?
And to say
what if there's a billion gods?
And to say nothing of the fact, Costa, that again.
What if there is? What if there is? But give me proof. Give me proof that the God of the Quran is the God whom I should trust.
And not only that, but you continue, and you've said this before on my channel, which is hilarious because once again, ladies and gentlemen, Costa has proven that he's very good at getting very far away from the actual topic because he knows his back is up against the wall. However, he talks about Christianity and he talks about our theology, showing the world that he has no idea what he's talking about because there's no Christian that says that we have three gods. We say that we have one God with three persons, right? Again, fundamental Trinitarian misunderstanding. This is the person who wants you to believe that he has the answers, but doesn't even know how to properly describe the Trinity. Congratulations.
Yes. I said that in a derogatory, funny way.
Sure.
You believe God died. You believe God died on the
We don't
cross.
believe God died. We believe that Jesus Christ died in his incarnate form.
We believe that the human side of Jesus died. We don't believe that his divine spirit
died.
Right.
Okay, can I ask you?
Sure, go ahead, Grafted, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Let Costa finish, and then I'm gonna say what I'm
No,
gonna say.
I was gonna bring an argument about the death of Jesus, but that's gonna sidetrack.
Sure.
Anyway, but before you start, Grafted, I just want to say Maverick agreed with the principle that if there's something written in a holy text that you believe is authoritative, and if it explains something that there is no historical evidence for, and even if there's historical evidence,
here we go. Look at what he's getting at. Because he knows that the crucifixion is supported historically. So now he's going to try to undermine the credibility of every single thing that verifies that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ actually happened because he knows that it is devastating to his narrative. This is what he's about to do.
Not really. Like I mentioned, Maverick, you agreed with the principle that you can agree with something even if there's no historical.
Yes.
So you're gonna ask what's the historical?
Yes, Costa. But the problem for Surah 4:157 essentially is that it is making a claim that is contrary. Okay, it's not like we just have the Bible saying it did happen and the Quran saying it didn't happen. Right. The reason that I love the Bible, as far as the actual holy text, is because there's no archaeology or history that contradicts it, unlike the Quran, right? The Quran is making grandiose claims contrary. Hold on. It is making grandiose claims contrary to not only the Bible, but all established history, right? Even Grafted was talking about early graffiti that was representing Jesus Christ being crucified and making fun of the people who worship Jesus as God and giving him the head of a donkey, right? So according to your supposed holy book, things that were so known in culture already to the point where people were actually making fun of it, who stood contrary to the belief in Jesus as God, already existed for centuries. Now, I understand where you're coming from. Because I don't want you to keep repeating the same point. You are essentially saying that because you believe the Quran is holy and you believe that it is holy text, it says it, and therefore you don't need historical proof. That argument is not going to work for me. What I am asking you for is why would they make such a specific claim about something that literally no other source, including the New Testament and every other historian who knows how to read, said. As a matter of fact, when that one Muslim interviewed Bart Ehrman, he laughed at him and said, no, the atheist argument does not agree with the Muslim standpoint, because even I, who don't believe in God, make it clear that Jesus was assuredly crucified. And there is no event in antiquity that is attested to more than that.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. You've said, why does the Quran need to go against the Bible? Why does it need to relay a story that isn't found in the previous scriptures or is against what people are saying? Well, the Quran was revealed to distinguish truth from falsehood. So if there was something false in history, then the Quran will clarify it, even though it can be, if people believe that thing to be true. So you're acting as if the Quran needs to be in line with the Bible. But Muslims believe in the corruption of the Bible. So it doesn't even, your premise doesn't even make sense.
I see.
The same way the Quran will have details about Mary and Jesus that aren't found in the New Testament. You can ask why they're there, but for example, Jesus speaking from the cradle, Jesus giving life to the clay pigeons, which are in some apocryphal gospels or whatever. I'm not even going to go there. I don't even need to substantiate the
Acosta, I understand. We get it. We understand what you're saying. You're just saying the same thing in different words. But what I want you to see is that your entire argument boils down to the fact that what you're saying essentially is, if history disagrees with the Quran, then history is wrong and the Quran corrects it. Again, circular reasoning. Circular reasoning. It's plain and simple, and that's what I was getting to. It's circular reasoning. It's true because the Quran says it's true, despite the fact that reality doesn't align with it at all. To say nothing of all the other thousands of things we can talk about, and realistic-wise, it doesn't involve. But we'll stick on topic, okay? Now, you say that Muslims believe that the Bible is corrupted, but you have no ancient manuscript, no historian, not a single piece of evidence from before Muhammad to back up that claim. And we talked about that before on this channel at length. As a matter of fact, the Quran itself tells Muslims to refer to the people of the book for confirmation. So if the Bible was already corrupted at the time of Muhammad, why would Allah send people to check it? And if you want to say the Quran was sent to clarify the falsehood of history, then you're telling me 600 years worth of eyewitnesses, disciples, enemies, Roman records, and every single historian somehow got it wrong. And only Muhammad, an illiterate man, by the way, who never saw any of it, got it right. That's not distinguishing truth from falsehood. That's rewriting history because it's inconvenient. Sorry, my brother, but history, logic, and manuscripts are all on the side of Christianity, and that's what I continue to try to hammer home to you. Now, again, I don't care about, the Quran and this and that, and it's sent to correct. I know what you believe, but none of that steps outside of the realm of circular reasoning. Grafton and George, maybe you guys will have a better chance at getting through to him, because I can't say it any clearer.
Let Costa speak now.
You said 600 years of eyewitness testimony. The eyewitness testimony that you have is allegedly from the New Testament.
Wrong again. Hold on, stop. Costa, learn how to listen, bro. Learn how to listen. I said 600 years worth of eyewitnesses, disciples, enemies, hostile attestations, Roman records, and every single historian. That's what I said.
Eyewitness records, where are they?
The eyewitness records are in the New Testament. They are in the Roman records. They are in the records of people like Tacitus, Josephus, Lucian, Marabar, Serapion, Suetonius. I think I said Tacitus, the Babylonian Talmud. I mean, you're asking for it, but you said to yourself, it doesn't matter anyway, because apparently none of it matters. You're asking for it. I'm giving it to you, and you're saying it doesn't matter because the Quran corrects it anyway. That's what your previous point was. Go ahead, Grafted. Go ahead. Hold on, Costa. Go ahead, Grafted. Say something.
No, but this is actually like related to what the intercourse that the two of you guys are having now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's boil down this zero-sum game for what it is, right? Costa's argument is that there isn't actually any eyewitness testimony. It's all derived from the traditions established by the New Testament or even non-Christian historical sources.
Sorry to clarify. Even if there is eyewitness testimony, this is why the Islamic position is the Islamic. Look, even if there is eyewitness testimony and the Quran is, it appeared so the people at the eyewitnesses thought that it was Jesus. So
okay, Costa. What you don't seem to get is that during the 600 years of recording, it doesn't say that it appeared to people that it was Jesus. It says it was Jesus. That's what you don't seem to understand.
They believed it was Jesus because what they saw, they thought they were seeing Jesus. So why would they say?
But it says that it was Jesus. Not one record does it say people believed it was Jesus. No, it was Jesus for a fact. That's what you don't seem to understand.
But again, Costa, you don't realize that's. Go ahead, Grafton. Go ahead.
No, but like again, sorry, George, and I just didn't get to finish my point there. Costa, I understand exactly what your position is, right? So here's why I'm calling it a zero-sum game. Because ultimately what you're doing is you are saying, no, you don't have eyewitness testimony. You're granting the tradition established by what's derived from scripture, which would be the New Testament, right? Now, however, your position then is that, hey, I'm going to grant my tradition established by the Quran, which says, okay, cool, there was a crucifixion, it just wasn't Jesus. Here's where the zero-sum game comes in. You grant your position, and we grant our position in scripture. Therefore, there are two truths. It doesn't matter. Neither of us granting anything. Just because you say, I don't need eyewitness testimony on mine because my prophet's from God, therefore. I say our apostles are from God, blessed with and speaking through the Holy Spirit. Cool, we've granted both ends. How does this disprove the crucifixion of Jesus? All we're doing is just granting. It's a zero-sum game without evidence, without historical tradition, without established history.
Right, and
so
that's
how do you prove anything just by doing what you're doing?
Right, and you don't, and that's why before Costa came in, and I had and you called it grafted because I had the same feeling. I had a feeling he was going to be the only one to call in, but the fact of the matter is, I knew exactly what he was going to do. He was going to use the circular reasoning of the Quran. Well, because the Quran says so. And then he tries to discredit the entirety because Costa will not, he talks about me not conceding. But let me explain something. This man just sat here and tried to undermine and discredit the entire tradition of history and the way it had always worked in humankind just to justify the circular reasoning of the Quran. And I love you, Costa, but I think, honestly, in my heart, that you're a lot smarter than that. Right. And even you would have to accept that there's nothing in history that even remotely agrees with the account of the Quran or the Hadith regarding Jesus or and the crucifixion. There's nothing historically.
And like I said, there doesn't need to be any. There doesn't need to be any. Look, I will state my personal position very clearly. I believe that the substitution theory, let's say, is a likely explanation for what happened. So based on this, I can, even if there are 500, 1,000, 2,000 eyewitnesses, if there is somebody that was substituted to look like Jesus on the cross, then the people would believe that it was Jesus on the cross. Ultimately, like I mentioned, for Muslims, whether there is historical support or not, it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
I know. Yeah, circular reasoning. I know.
So this is why it's a bad topic of discussion.
Then why did you call it? If you thought right.
Why should we believe the Quran? Tell me.
And you call the show
if it's a good reason.
And if it's a bad topic, guess what? You used your free will to call into the show. If you felt like it was not worth discussing, then I'm not even sure why you called in, except to contribute your own personal brand of circular reasoning. Because I'm sorry, Costa, nobody who is, if somebody is a Christian or if they are not Christian or Muslim rather, nobody is going to accept, well, just because the Quran says so. That's beyond stupid, right? That's the Quran trying to play revisionist history later on and say, just because we said so, that's what really took place. But that's not what took place, because that's not what all of history establishes.
Why should we believe the Quran? Why should we believe it? Give me one good reason.
Okay, I feel like I've answered your question. Can you allow me to ask a question? In Matthew, it says all the dead rose up and they walked around Jerusalem and they appeared to many. Where is the historical documents or evidence to support this? Or do you
Watch
just
this.
believe it?
Go ahead,
Watch
Grafton.
this.
Go ahead,
I
Grafton.
believe it happened. The Bible's from God. I believe it happened. I don't need anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Watch
so
it.
so
No, but you
that's
see how
fine. That
that's
can be
nothing.
acceptable to me. That can be
But
acceptable.
that's what I'm
to me.
saying. Do you see how nothing you say, when you say I don't need evidence, that proves nothing? Do you
Right.
not see
Yeah.
how, when I use the same logic, it proves nothing?
Right.
Yeah, I
So-
agree. So this is why.
Because Costa, now you can ask us, why should I believe the Bible? Well, we're asking you the same question. Why
Right.
should we believe the Quran?
Why should
That
you
is the
believe
It doesn't.
That
Yeah.
is- ultimately, look, we can go back and forth. Islamic dilemma, Christianity, this happening in the
But
Gospels.
Costa,
Ultimately,
but what
the
I'm
main
trying
thing-
what
the
I'm trying
main
to show
thing
you,
that
but aside,
differentiates
hold
us-
on, but aside from this, what you're trying to justify circular reasoning, right? And there's nobody who is
Exactly.
respectable at debate that is going to allow that. And I said earlier, I'm not going to allow it. I said it, and I want to set something straight to you because I like you a lot. I really do. Like I feel like if we ever, I don't think you're a Muslim, so you don't drink beer. But if I were to meet with you, I'd go have a Diet Coke with you or something because I really do like you as a guy. Okay, I don't think you drink beer, and even if you did, you're not going to admit it out loud here, right? But the thing about it is, when I reference when we reference like the resurrection of Jesus Christ or the scripture that you were talking about, right? And you ask for historical documentation. The thing is, you're pretending like Christians have no evidence of it, right? You're saying we don't have evidence, right? Oh, well, where's the evidence for that? But okay, then the same logic destroys your position entirely. The New Testament provides written eyewitness claims, and it's written within decades, and that's more documentation than anything you've got for Muhammad or the Quran. As a matter of fact, every reputable historian, even atheists like Bart Ehrman, which I said earlier, and Gerd Ludman agree that the disciples truly believed they saw Jesus alive again, right? They saw the crucifixion. They saw the resurrection. That is historical bedrock. That's not just I believe it happened.
Did they see the dead walking around?
I'm sorry?
Did they see the dead walking around?
We're talking about Jesus Christ right now, brother. You're trying to sidestep because you don't like what's going on here. You could say
It's a zero-sum game.
Right? Yeah. It's just a
zero-sum game. It's like
the problem is look, if I was to bring Gnostic texts, for example, I don't base my faith on whether there's Gnostic texts that say Jesus wasn't crucified.
Do you know? Okay, so do you even know what the Gnostic text said about that? The Gnostic texts were saying that Jesus, they never felt that he was crucified because they believed that Jesus was God. So that actually doesn't help you.
Well,
you don't believe Jesus is God.
Even if I bring a text that says Jesus wasn't crucified, you're gonna be like, oh, but this is what the Gnostics actually believe.
No, they're not.
Why I don't point to this evidence.
Right, it's a self-refuting argument. Right, yeah. It's
Costa, it doesn't work for you because according to the Gnostic texts, people believe that Jesus was God, whereas the Quran teaches that Jesus isn't God.
Right, that's what we're trying to tell you. And
it would be a self-refuting source. That's why we wouldn't accept it.
And on top of that, because we know that the Gnostic texts were an oral tradition, it just goes to show that it was more things that Muhammad plagiarized. He heard and he repeated.
It's as dumb as saying, yo, you can't listen to this historian because he's an atheist or he's X or he's Y.
Nobody said that. I don't remember. I never said anything like that.
I'm just demonstrating. Even if I were to bring...
Well, that's exactly what Muslims tend to do. They say, oh, well, we can't trust this historian because he's a Christian. Oh, we can't trust this historian because he's a pagan. Or we can't trust this historian because he does this or he does that. That's exactly what Muslims do, Costa.
And you know what it comes down to?
An appeal to authority is. Do you know about the appeal to authority fallacy, right? The reason you're saying, oh, it would be dumb to do X, Y, and Z. But here's the thing. If you appeal to that text, you're placing authority on the text.
Right.
Inherently, whether you believe it or not, you are implying that it's implicitly authoritative to the person.
Not the entire thing. Not the entire thing.
It doesn't matter. Why present it if you didn't?
Oh, so cherry picking now, something Muslims are notorious for.
Exactly.
But you know,
if
but
it's not authoritative to me, why present it to me?
Exactly.
If it's not supposed to mean something to me.
And not only that, and Gosta, not only that, but you know what was hilarious?
This is what you're asking for. This is what you're asking for. You're asking for me to bring evidence from a source that is largely Islamic, that predates Islam, right? This is what you're asking me to do. That this source will, in an Islamic fashion, detail all the misconceptions and historically record. Look, for example, in the infancy Gospels, when Jesus spoke from the cradle, right? If I bring that as evidence that, the Quran story of Jesus, not that I would need to, I would just say I believe in the Quran because
Yeah,
believe that
Costa,
it's from
we
God.
know we know what you believe in,
I believe in
bro.
the Quran because I believe in the Quran.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
We can have that discussion. You know we can have that discussion.
Costa, we
But
can
Mark
have
feels
that
like
discussion,
you're
but again,
backtracking.
look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. You're doing the Muslim shuffle, baby. The Muslim shuffle. Let's go back to the infancy
you're just
gospel. Let's go
changing
back to the
standards.
Gnostic gospels. Let's go this. Let's go that. And then here was the thing from the very beginning, and I'm going to show you before we move on to the next guest. What you said in the beginning was, well, the majority of your sources are from the New Testament. And then when I shared a PDF and showed the world that I have many sources outside of the New Testament, well, it doesn't matter anyway, because it doesn't matter if the history says it. What matters is that the Quran says it. And if I believe it to be a holy text, then that's all that I need. Absolutely ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your mind on Islam. You can't make this stuff up, guys. And I knew it. This is why I said it. We gave him enough chances. Let's bring in this guy. I know what's going to probably end up. What's going on, Jaguar? You ain't called the show in a while, man. You better have something smart to say. Jaguar, you there? I know you're there. You're not showing your picture. What's going on, brother? Lowest ranking Muslim going once. This actually works out anyway because I have to get up and go in a few.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
Hey, assalamu alaikum.
What's up, bro? How you been, man?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Why is he always yelling? Like
He's just loud. His mic is loud, bro. His mic is loud. All right. Jaguar. Jaguar.
For the evidence, brother.
You go, boy. You give me some evidence. You give me some evidence that says that Jesus wasn't crucified.
Brother. The story of Roman history is why I don't believe in the crucifixion.
Why? Tell me why.
Because there is absolutely no Roman historian evidence. Absolutely none. Please, if you found some, please show it to us.
So I don't know if you've been watching the stream, but I've been giving you countless instances of evidence, and you're saying that there's no evidence for the
Roman evidence.
Okay,
Roman historian.
Yes, that is
that we should be.
Okay. Do you want the answer? Instead of saying there isn't something and you're wrong, I'm going to tell you that you're flat out wrong because you haven't read Tacitus, right? And he was a Roman historian writing around 116 AD, and he explicitly mentions Jesus' execution under Pontius Pilate during the reign of Tiberius. That is in Annals 15.44.
Roman historians are. Oh my God.
What?
Tacitus was a Roman historian.
Yes,
and
he was.
Wrote about the crucifixion under Pontius Pilate.
Yes.
Pull it up.
It's on the damn document that's in your face. It's been here the whole stream.
That's the document that you made up, of course. Bro, you lied about Ibn Hibas. I had to research the three guys you talked about on Wednesday.
Okay.
And you totally misinterpreted what they said, and I sent it to you in the chat.
Uh-huh.
So, no, I'm not going to look at your PDF file that you just created.
Okay. All right.
This
guy is so. He is so. This is the guy who said that John of Patmos was a different John than the one who wrote the book of John.
PDF file. I showed you on my PDF file.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Lowest ranking. Show me a document that says Tacitus was not a Roman historian. That's what I'd like to see.
I'll do that, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But you guys claim that you guys have Roman. I didn't say I had Roman. I didn't say nothing. You guys said you guys have it. So that's what I'm here for. You guys are the ones with the evidence.
Hey,
bro,
you got it.
Okay, brother. Here.
Bro.
I am going to. I'm bringing it up. Bro, Jaguar, shut up long enough to get what you're asking for. Jesus Christ, dude. You are so insufferable at times. This is why I didn't want to let you on. Close your mouth and listen, and maybe you'll learn something for once. Okay? Now, I'm going to share the screen with you because you're claiming, again, just like many Muslims, that you know something that you don't know. I'm going to make the screen really big for you, okay? Roman historian and politician Publius Cornelius Tacitus wrote about Jesus' crucifixion in his work Annals Book 15, Chapter 44, which was written around AD 116. In this passage, Tacitus mentions Christ suffered from penalty.
That's not in the life of the
Oh
Messiah.
my God. So wait a second. So first, so you okay?
Thank you. Point proven.
He doesn't know what a historian is.
He does. No, he clearly doesn't.
Right after the fact.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
What he heard
Are you okay?
Jaguar, Muhammad didn't live within the lifetime of Jesus. Why do you trust him?
About Muhammad right now. Let's talk about.
But I'm asking you.
Because you're a coward.
Otherwise, you're applying double standards.
Right.
Jaguar, otherwise, you're applying double standards.
Right.
So please, reply to me. If you don't trust Jaguar, if you won't trust Tacitus, how can you possibly trust Muhammad when Muhammad lived centuries after Jesus?
Because he has Sahabis that were there in his lifetime, okay? That wrote about it in his lifetime. So, silly.
Why do you trust Muhammad? That's my question. Why would we trust a word that Muhammad says?
Well, he's
that
asking,
is my question.
Jaguar, the question that he's asking you, Jaguar.
4 generations.
He's asking you if you're saying that what Tacitus wrote about the crucifixion is not legitimate, then how the hell can we listen to Muhammad, who came several centuries after the crucifixion?
So let's focus on what we're talking about right here, the Roman evidence, okay? So
I gave you the Roman evidence. The thing is, you're dismissing. Okay, so you're dismissing Tacitus among countless others. Jaguar.
116 years
Jaguar.
later, right?
Jaguar. First of all,
do not apply double standards, because if you won't trust Tacitus because he lived in 116 AD, then
I told you guys Roman evidence. So let's focus on the Roman evidence that you guys are presenting.
This is Roman evidence, you fool.
Jaguar, I don't think that you understand what double standards means. If you're going to say we cannot trust Tacitus because he lived in 116 AD, then how can you possibly trust Muhammad when he lived in 607 AD?
This is why. Hang on. So I'm gonna say something to you, Jaguar, and then I'm gonna let Grafton say what he has to say, because the thing is, you come into conversations and you ask for things, and then when you get them, you think that you have the authority to dismiss them because you have no idea how things like history work, right? And you're dismissing Tacitus because he wrote about 80 years after the crucifixion, right? Okay, so by that logic, you have to throw out every single ancient event written down after the fact, including almost everything about people like Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great or literally any Roman Empire. And what's even worse is that if you actually applied that standard, you wouldn't have any history left at all. Plus, Tacitus was a Roman senator with access to official records. He had far more credibility than Muhammad, who wrote the Quran 600 years after the event in a different language and with zero access to Jerusalem or Roman archives. And you know what's even funnier is that your hadiths for your supposed holy book were written centuries after Muhammad died. So I guess none of the hadiths have any authority to talk about Muhammad then, do they? Do they? That's what I thought. What?
And Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her.
The hadiths came centuries.
Wasn't that his wife?
Centuries. Yeah, and they were written centuries later. Yeah, we do love to bring it up because he married a 6-year-old girl.
If it was his wife, his own wife. His own wife wrote them. The one you guys all bring up, he's the one that wrote them.
Oh, yeah?
His own wife, and this wife of his wrote about Muhammad saying, you know, I can't help but notice that, oh Muhammad, that your God gives you a revelation in everything that you desire.
Jaguar,
you want this, you get a revelation. You get a revelation.
Jaguar, I want you to understand.
You get a revelation.
If you do a simple... Hold on. Jaguar, stop. Because you're talking, again, without knowing. You are, again... You're setting a standard for Tacitus that you won't set for your own hadiths, and you're claiming that the hadiths were not written centuries after the Quran, and I'm going to set you straight again for the millionth time on this channel. The Quran was compiled in the 7th century. The earliest major hadith collections like Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim were not even written down until the 9th century, over 200 years after Muhammad's death. You can look that up for yourselves. Even Muslim scholars admit this, you fool. And of course he's gone. And then he'll claim later on that I kicked him, even though my hand didn't move. He'll claim later on that I kicked him, even though my hand didn't move. But I will make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't get to dismiss people like Josephus and Tacitus and say, oh, so it came 80 years later, when the earliest hadiths were written 2 full centuries after Muhammad died. How stupid.
Oh, and brother, when Muhammad died, the Quran wasn't even compiled at that point. It was compiled sometime later, and then there was a point where people recited the Quran in so many different ways that Caliph Uthman had to gather up all the manuscripts and burn them. And there are actually even hadiths which state that Uthman's Quran is different from from the other Qurans that existed before he burned them. For example, Aisha, she cites a passage in the Quran that existed before Uthman had authority over all the manuscripts. She cites a passage, and then she says, that is what the Quran used to say before Uthman changed the Quranic copies.
Yeah.
Another thing is, after Muhammad's death, Ubay ibn Ka'b, he was one of the best 4 teachers and the best recitator of the Quran, or the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And he approaches a person and he asks the person, how many verses does the chapter, I think it's the chapter of the parties, how many verses does the chapter of the parties have? To which he gets an answer, 72 or 73,
right.
To which he responds with, it used to be equal, I think that according to Ubay, it's missing like 157 verses.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there was later on there was surahs that were added. Some had 112, others had 114. It was a mess. And again, they'll use circular reasoning to try to justify these things, but then they will have the balls to sit on this channel and try to talk to you about the Comment Johannium or about the ending of Mark that was only found in the Latin manuscripts and not the Koine Greek ones, and therefore to them that's corruption. But we're not the ones that had sheep eating our manuscripts, ladies and gentlemen. We're not the ones that had our manuscripts thrown all over with sheep eating them, and Caliph Uthman burning other competing ones, and other caliphs getting upset because they didn't agree with the canonization of the Quran as he did it. It's absolutely insane. At least we got people to call in.
What about the satanic verses?
Oh God, don't even get me started on that.
What about the satanic verses?
That is actually probably going to be what we talk about on Monday, ladies and gents, because I have a long weekend ahead of me. I was off the last 2 days, glory to God, but it is time to get back to work, ladies and gentlemen, because crime, unfortunately, in society does not stop, and have to be people to deal with it. So that is where I am going now, and I am extraordinarily glad and humbled that God has given me the job, the career of my dreams. Unfortunately means that, you know what that means sometimes, guys? You got to work overnight, and it is what it is. You just got to be up all night. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go deal with that.
Brother, just a quick question. Do you ever have to visit an actual crime scene?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh wow! Wow, that must be unpleasant.
You should be at a detective level with the way you do these things.
You know what? I will. The thing about it is that I was in a position where I could have done that a little bit easier, but then in that agency, it's like all testing, and you have to wait for them to give a test every couple of years. So then there was that, and then so then I retired from there, and I'm in an agency now where that's more likely, but I just started. So eventually, yeah, you got to grease those wheels and you got to show them that you want it. But my thing is, that is my dream, to be a secondary investigator. But I leave that in God's hands. Does that make sense? When it's going to happen, it'll happen if it is and only is in his will. Because let me tell you something, detectives are very busy people. And sometimes you got to wonder how much room that would leave for ministry. So I leave that in God's hands, like I said. But you know what, guys? I love you both so much. I thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Expect to star in 2 clips from today because, man, Costa and Los Ranking Muslim really did put themselves in a position today to get put on YouTube, baby. As a matter of fact, Go ahead, Grafton, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's crazy how he thought that going to a zero-sum game would disprove Jesus' crucifixion in any way, shape, or form. Bro just said, let's take evidence itself off the table, and let's just argue from what we grant, but somehow what I grant is better than what you grant. And it's like, that doesn't work in any setting, ever.
But now flip the script. Imagine if the Quran was saying Jesus was not crucified, and there was countless instances of evidence, including the Quran and hostile attestations that said he wasn't, and Christians were just claiming that he was crucified anyway. Oh my gosh. Costa would be sitting there with an embarrassment of riches for evidence, right? And sit there and wouldn't be able to throw it in our face fast enough. But when it disagrees with the Quran, they don't want to acknowledge it because they know that it is devastating to their case. This is your Mind on Islam, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much, man. I really appreciate it. Monday will be the next time I stream. The hours will be probably earlier or later, depending on when I get home. Because I think here, I can tell you guys right now. So it's only for this week. I'm gonna have to be there. Let's see. I can tell you here. It's right here till 3:30 p.m. So the earliest I could start is probably like 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is already very late for George and Grafted. But we'll figure it out. I might actually go live earlier. It just depends though, because I'm gonna be getting a lot less sleep because I gotta be there in the morning too. So it'll go. That the times will be a little bit off, but I will be live, guys. So we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
I just want to let you know from next week, like possibly from Monday or some other day next week, I am expecting to start this new job where I'm expecting to have 3 shifts. You know, the morning shift, the afternoon shift, and the night shift. So I won't be able to be on here as often anymore.
That's all good, man. You do what you got to do, brother. We'll see each other when we see each other. It's all in God's will, right? So Thank you, my brothers. I appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend and take care of yourselves. Be careful out there.
Thanks.
You too, brother.
Later, man. God bless. All right, guys. It was an excellent stream. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to God for, I mean, we got a lot of attention on this stream, and despite the fact that we didn't really get callers until the end. And we got two of the usuals. And of course, you had to have the one who come in here and made a fool out of himself, as usual. Lowest ranking Muslim asked for evidence and then stated that it wasn't evidence because he didn't like the amount of time to pass by. To say nothing of the fact that he believes in a messenger who talked about the very same event several centuries, 6 times later than Tacitus talked about it, but says that it's okay when Muhammad talks about it, despite the fact that he knows nothing about it. But it's not okay when Tacitus talks about it because it happened 80 years later, because it happened 80 years before. Silliness at its best. This is Your Mind on Islam, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Brother Maverick. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the Cross Unit. As always, be safe, be good, be blessed. I'll see you guys when I see you. Remember that Jesus is King and the only way to heaven. Peace.
We got millions.